Good morning, friends. Welcome to Akulmach, and today is October 17th, and I'm joining you from my library, and I'm reading this book actually, which tells me so many historic incidents, and I learned about some of the important incidents that happened today, and therefore I would like to share some of these historic incidents that happened today on October 17th with you all live. So let us start our journey and know some of these historic incidents up close which happened on October 17th. Well, the first is about a tragedy. In the 79 AD, the famous Pompeii, city of Pompeii, we have seen the movies also, was destroyed by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius and killing thousands. I mean, we don't know because in those days there was everything was destroyed during that time. And so when we excavate today, we find a lot of these artifacts which were sort of buried, and there are a lot of people who were clinging to each other, and they were kind of burned alive because of this 300 degrees centigrade ash which was coming out from the volcano. So pretty much everything died during this eruption. It was a major catastrophe in the ancient world. 79 AD, October 17th. Let's move to the next one. Believe it or not, in 1814 in London, there was a deluge of beer. You can imagine that if you drink too much beer, it can cause a little bit of harm to you, but you cannot imagine that there will be a beer flood. But it actually happens in the year 1814 on October 17th, killing 9 people in this accident. So this is something which is so astonishing, and it is remarkable that you can even die because of the flood which is created by beer spillage. All right, let's move to the next one. We know that Marconi has been credited to inventing the radio. So he was the first person to identify there is a requirement for communication, long distance communication, and that is why the Marconi was credited for inventing radio. Although there were others also, he was not the only person who invented radio. There was an Indian person, there was also a German person. Within a matter of a week or so, or maybe a month, they announced their invention, that they have identified this gadget called radio. Nevertheless, Marconi got the credit for whatever reason, and he has been credited as inventing the first radio in the world. But in 1917, he became a very wealthy man, and he started his good lucrative business in the area of telecommunication. So in 1907, October 17, his company laid the transatlantic cable, the transmission cable between Americas and Europe. So he was an Italian, so between Italy and Nova Scotia, which is an island county close to Canada, and they started the first transmission between Americas and Europe. So it is an important day. We must remember in the area of technology that the transatlantic cable was laid, the first one, today on October 17th, and the services started. So it's a revolution in the area of telecommunications, which started in 1907. All right, let's move to the next one. We know Al Capone. The money laundering term is attributed to Al Capone. He was, as the name suggests, an Italian fellow American, but he shifted his base to Chicago, and he actually established his gang in Chicago and ran the illicit liquor trade, basically bringing the liquor from Canada and selling it under the garb of his launderette business, and that is how we call the money laundering. And he was a gangster, typical gangster. He also had a lot of rivalry among other gangs who were doing the same thing. So he was trying to kill the other gangs and capture the quantum of business of this illicit liquor trade, which was made illegal in Chicago. So it's a very famous story, and if you have seen the movie about this incident called The Untouchables, in fact, the people who went behind him in order to convict him were called Untouchables, and eventually Al Capone was arrested on the ground of tax evasion, not on the grounds of murder, because there was nobody who would give his testimony against him. People were too scared. However, he was found guilty on the account of tax evasion, and then he was imprisoned. So today was the big verdict on October 17, 1931, when he was convicted under the tax evasion. The next information is about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein is probably the most amazing scientist. He was able to think out of the box and change the physics as we know it. And he came up with these small equations which are hardly a centimeter long on the piece of paper, but that explains the motion of every body in the universe. So most of the universe can be explained by the theory of relativity. There are two theories and both works, and Einstein is the famous theoretical physicist who came up with these ideas. So he's very popular. He's supposed to be the genius, but did you know that he was a Jew and was based in Germany, and eventually because of the atrocities being conducted on Jews, he actually immigrated to US as a refugee in the year 1933, and he reached the shores of America on October 17th in the year 1933 as a refugee. All right, let's move to the next one. I don't know whether you have seen this movie called Bridge on River Kauai. It is a movie, it's an Oscar-winning movie, amazing movie. If you have not seen, it is worth seeing even today. It's an old movie. As you can see, I've actually taken the picture from the movie scene itself, where the hero is Sir Alec Guinness on the left, the guy on the left, and he's a POW along with his unit, and they were building the bridge for Japanese. And if you like the war movie, this is one movie that you must see. And important thing is, when I went to Thailand for the first time, I wanted to really see the bridge on River Kauai because I was so much moved by this movie. And I went to see the bridge, but now this old bridge has been replaced by a new one, which is made of steel. So I did not find this particular bridge. However, this movie is based on a real incident which actually happened in the year 1943, where this bridge was built by the British prisoner of war for Japanese, and this railway line is also called the death rail line because it is in a very deep forest, very deep jungle, and a lot of fatalities. And Japanese were running a concentration camp, so whoever was sent to build the bridge would eventually die. So a very famous story. It actually happened, and this bridge was completed on October 17th, 1943. By the way, the terrain was so difficult and the conditions were miserable. It was very difficult to construct railway line and bridge in this part of the world, especially in the 1940s. So moving on to the next incident. Well, this is about Elvis Presley. He is the star for all of us, and his very popular movie, a blockbuster called Jailhouse Rock. The scene is from that movie. It's a song, Jailhouse Rock, which he sang himself. He is also starred in that movie. This movie was released on October 17th, 1957. Very popular movie. I think if you cannot see the movie, I'm sure because this is slow from our standard, but at least enjoy this song, Jailhouse Rock, which is amazing. All right, let's move to the next one. Well, in 1970, Anwar Sadat was sworn in as the third president of Egypt, and Anwar Sadat changed a lot of things in Egypt. He actually acquired the Suez Canal. He did not wanted to have British control the Suez Canal, so he actually initially said, because British was paying Egypt certain sum of rentals, but Anwar Sadat felt that this is wrong, and he wanted to have the sovereign right on the Suez Canal. So under his regime, he fought for it and he got it, and he simply went and acquired it. There are other things happened during his regime, but the important thing is he was a great leader for his country, and today he was sworn in as the third president, October 17, 1970. All right, let's move to the next one. Well, this is about UK, and UK was part of EU. As you know, that EU is a collection of countries, and they tried to bring uniformities among the legal system. They tried to bring a single visa across all the European countries, including UK, and so that there is more business among themselves, easy business transition of people, free transition, free movement of people among Europe itself. However, the problem it was brewing for some time, because Euro was supposed to implement the euro as a currency, so that while they can maintain their own currency like Deutschmark in Germany, Lira in Italy, and all and so on, they started their own currency, which UK was never part of. The UK continued to have much more powerful currency called UK pounds, and therefore it was not meaningful for them to abolish pounds and adapt to euro. So they kept out of this financial currency market, but for everything else they were part of EU. However, the trouble for UK was they did not had a lot of commonalities while they were part of EU. They had their own trade, they had their own economy, which was never combined with EU. So they decided to exit, and that exit is called Brexit, which means Britain exit the EU, called Brexit. It was finally announced after a lot of negotiations on October 17th, 2019 by the then Prime Minister of UK, Boris Johnson. Although there was a fishing right issue that remained, which was resolved many months after this announcement, but the Britain decided to exit the EU, and today they are not part of EU. So this is a historic moment, because the EU broke apart, UK went their own way today on October 17th in the year 2019. So I think some of these very important incidents happened today, friends, and I brought some of these historic incidents. Some are related to entertainment, some are related to Second World War, some are related to politics, and some are related to disasters which happened today on October 17th. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you again tomorrow with more interesting incident which happened on October 18th. So have a nice day, take care, and see you tomorrow.